That's the only fight I want. And how Terence Crawford landed Canelo Alvarez. Las Vegas. Las Vegas shortly, by the way, after moving up in weight and eking out. When in the closest fight of his career, Terence, by the way, Crawford, then on the cusp of his 37th birthday, was insisting on jumping another two divisions, by the way, two divisions to fight the undisputed 168-pound champion, Canelo Alvarez, by the way. This was 13 months ago, and Crawford was addressing an audience of one. And he is patron, by the way, and is a Saudi Arabian boxing financier, Turki Alalshikh. Turki Sheikh, by the way, even by boxing standards, and I use the term and advisedly, as boxing has only few and dubious standards. It seemed, by the way, a semi-preposterous idea. And a sheikh, by the way, a sheikh showed him a look. And about the weight, he said, actually, it was more than just the weight. And the both history, by the way, both history and common sense favor not merely the naturally bigger man, but the younger one, and the so-called side belt with Canelo, boxing, by the way, leading man, and who had already generated and almost half $1 billion in purses. And Crawford, by the way, was none of those things. And what's more, he would do, by the way, he would do it. He would do it without insisting on any of the usual contractual niceties and designed to even the odds. And no catchweight, by the way, and no rehydration clause. And the Sheikh, by the way, proposed a couple of very lucrative and, if more sensible, alternatives, by the way, and Ortiz Jr. Ortiz Jr. or Sharon Booth, by the way, and any each of them undefeated young stars with great ambition at 154 pounds, and Crawford, by the way, refused to entertain either opinion, and the post is not a magnified mega fight. It's not a mega fight, by the way, and he said Virgil Ortiz is not a mega fight. It is the tail end of my career. And they are going to say, by the way, and you were supposed to win. And I want Canelo Alvarez. I want Canelo Alvarez, really. And he wanted to fight. He wasn't supposed to win, by the way. And actually, okay. Okay, said the Sheikh. The Sheikh said, okay. Relenting, I am going to try to get that fight for you. This is the only fight, by the way, I want. And they said, Crawford, 13 months. 13 months, by the way. Hence, Canelo and Crawford will fight Saturday at a Legend Stadium. And Canelo agreed to fight in return for the purse believed to be in excess of $100 million and more than that. And the Sheikh, by the way, proclaimed at Saturday's news conference an offer, by the way, that even the sport's leading man couldn't refuse. But it all began with Crawford. That's how we got here, he says. A generation, by the way, a generation of fighters has come to look upon Canelo less as a rival than a scorer, a jackpot. And a career, by the way, payday their victories, it seems, and we're signing the contracts, not fighting the fights, by the way. And about Crawford looks to Canelo as his white wine, and something he was stalking long, by the way, before that meeting with a sheikh, an existential corrective for everything, by the way, he believes has afflicted his career. An answer, by the way, for every slide going back to the amateurs and from fighters who wouldn't fight him to promoters who failed to promote him. And a source of internal respect and stature, but only if he wins, in fact. And the crowd, by the way, have been studying Canelo since at least 2015 season, and when he showed up at Mandalay, by the way, Mandalay Bay to watch Alvarez beat a future Hall of Famer, Miguel Cotto. And for his first middleweight, by the way, title, Crawford, by comparison, then held the WBO junior and welterweight title. And I didn't think fighting Canelo would be a thing, and he says that. And we were too far, by the way, apart in weight classes and gradually. And thought it would become, by the way, a thing in 2021. And Crawford, by then, a welterweight champion, and so desperately looking for worthy opponents, and attended Alvarez stay busy fight and against somebody named Avni. Avni Yildirmi in Miami. And Canelo, by the way, now is a WBC 168-pound champion and knocked out in the third round. But even as he did, and the seed had been planted. And Crawford, by the way, wouldn't mention it in public, but it was in the back of his mind. And by 2023, by the way, so he had begun his behind the scenes campaign to land a Canelo fight and late that year. And he met with then WBO President Francisco Baco and Valcarcel in Puerto Rico and broached the idea. Thank you so much. Have a nice time and great day. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you so much.